What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Cool Colas here, and you are now tuning into a new video on my channel. But before we get all into the topic for today, I would love it if you did a few things for me. Hit the like button, the subscribe button, the share button, and the bell icon so you get notifications for whenever I come out with new content on this channel. And then when you are finished watching this video, I'd love it if you left me a comment below. That way I can get back to whatever it is that you had to say about the topic for today. For today's topic, I want to talk about why pro-blacks, especially black men, need to embrace the spook who sat behind the door mentality when they are learning skills from suspected white supremacists, Sambos, and people who are just generally off code. So let's get into it. I wanted to talk about this topic because I recently had a conversation in a Twitter space that I was co-hosting, and this brother came up to speak. And one of the things that he said when he came up was that he was having difficulties trying to learn a skill from somebody whose opinions he didn't really agree with. And as he elaborated, he basically told me that and I won't say too much about his personal characteristics and things like that because I don't want to put his business out there. He basically told me that he was trying to learn martial arts and get his black belt. And he was trying to get his black belt from this martial arts instructor who be Samboing. And he described this dude as a black man who was in his 60s and was a part of a Divine Nine fraternity. Now, as soon as he told me that, I could see the whole picture, and it totally made sense. As a matter of fact, everything about his experience was quite relatable. And I think that a lot of us as black people, whether you have a pro-black mindset or not, can relate to this ideal. But it's especially difficult for us who have the pro-black mentality because we already have a certain way that we view and see the world and a certain thing that we are passionate about when it comes to black people. And we can spot when somebody does not have that same type of passion and care for black empowerment. So oftentimes we find ourselves in situations where we're trying to learn new things. We're trying to create businesses. We're trying to get new skills. And we're trying to do those things because we want to take them and bring them back to the community that we've built. We want to do great things. We want to create great things. We want to create platforms for ourselves. We want to create cool products. We want to create resources for our community. But we're stuck trying to learn that from someone who does not think like us. And this wouldn't be so bad if they had their opinions, we had our opinions, and that was it. But oftentimes, these individuals with these off-code and Sambo mindsets, or people who are just straight up suspected white supremacists, they inject their opinions often, and they convey them while they're trying to teach you something. This is especially important for black men because we're the ones who are expected to lead, and we're the ones who are expected to produce something and to build something. And we are also the people who are the softest targets when it comes to people openly ridiculing us, putting us down, talking badly about us, etc. So it's very common that we would be talked to crazy or be exposed to this mentality or these different things that this person who's teaching us something wants us to know, even if it's something that we totally disagree with. It's almost to the point where they'll talk at us about their beliefs while teaching us something. And some of us are kind of used to this to a certain extent when it comes to dealing with the white supremacists at your jobs. A lot of times you'll deal with them and they will microaggress you, and they, say these little slick comments, and they be trying to lil bro you, and they try to do all this other stuff to you, right? So you're used to that. You're used to this idea that I'm a black person, this is a white person, we have different experiences because your people oppressed my people. And as a result, I'm working amongst you to try to come up in whatever way possible, like to empower myself and then empower my people. And I have to work aside you, a person who has all of the privileges and the benefits of the dominant society, who now I have to sit up underneath, learn something from, and you treat me like dirt while I'm doing it. We already know how that whole process goes. And a lot of times we have to kind of play it cool. We have to kind of sit back, watch, listen, and learn a new skill while we're in that job so we can take that and use that constructively for something else. So for example, let's say that you want to do taxes on your own. You want a tax software company and you want to learn how to do taxes, whatever the case may be. And you have to work at, somewhere like an H&R Block. And you are initially getting trained by somebody there who is a suspected white supremacist. They're talking to you real crazy. They're treating you really weird and all this other stuff, but trying to, say certain things, right? We're used to having to be in that situation where we are trying to learn everything we can, trying to be smart about our moves, trying to listen in on what we can listen to. We're trying to also keep to ourselves, but not so much that we come off weird and they want to get us out the paint anyway. So we have to kind of balance all of that different stuff. And that can be very daunting and that can be very exhausting. For those of you all who do not know, there was an actual novel and there was an actual movie about the spook who sat behind the door. And the whole idea behind it was having somebody who was black, a foundational black American, trying to become a successful revolutionary, and doing that by beating the system at their own game and fighting within a system, but coming out and using the skills that they learned within that system. And so the whole idea is that we need to basically kind of keep quiet, keep cool, keep a low profile, learn what we need to learn, and even to some extent be diplomatic to get the things that we need to get so we can use those for our own gain and for our own purpose. It's kind of like the Killmonger mentality. Remember, Killmonger in both the What If series and in the Black Panther movie kind of had a mentality where he was learning things in the military and he was learning tactical skills in order for him to fight back against his opponents. And even in the What If series, he was working closely with Tony Stark and he was working on some of his mechanical inventions and things like that. And it turned into a thing where he was able to turn on Tony Stark and gain full control of his resources and whatnot. So we're almost kind of learning that type of mentality. Now, there's a few things that you can do, because what a lot of people want to know is, how can I operate in this properly and keep my sanity? How can I be the spook who sat behind the door and still be able to be me? How can I not compromise myself in the process of learning from this person who is not like me whatsoever? And the main thing that I would tell somebody who is in this type of situation is, one, realize that at any point in time, you could lose the thing that you're aiming to gain, but there will always be somebody else who will be able to teach you that very thing, or you might be able to teach yourself. So go in with the mentality that this is an opportunity that I could lose, but that doesn't mean that I will never get this opportunity again. So you need to go in with that mindset instead of this mindset of, I have to do this because this is the only opportunity that I will ever get. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, be willing to put up boundaries, even if those boundaries are kind of small. So you shouldn't have to kiss ass at all, but you should put up boundaries when you feel like it's a topic you don't want to get into. So for example, if somebody's saying something that's off code or something that you don't agree with, or they're asking or soliciting your opinion on it, you can tell that person, hey, I don't want to talk about this thing. Hey, I don't want to talk about a thing. I just want to learn whatever it is that you're teaching me. I'm more focused on the work. I'm more focused on the skill. You want to kind of go there with it, The third thing is, you don't bring these topics up. You don't go back and forth with people, because ultimately you're not supposed to try to change people's minds. You're supposed to figure out who people are and then move accordingly. So if this person is not for you, know that when you're finished doing this thing with them, that you're not going to have really any real affiliation with them for real. You may not even speak to them ever again. But the reality is that you should not go in there trying to change their mind. Now, you can go in there setting boundaries, saying what you don't want to talk about. That still may not go your way, but at least you didn't compromise your beliefs. At least you didn't compromise the way that you felt about something. But the ultimate thing there should be to focus on the skill itself and how you can obtain this thing from someone who is not necessarily in the same frame of mind. The fourth thing you need to do is, while you are dealing with this person, consider other options of people who might be a better resource in the meantime. Look at your network. If you're building a following with all these people who are codified just like you, see who in that network might know somebody who's doing that same thing that you could possibly learn from in the meantime. So it's important for you to try to figure out your other options in case this doesn't pan out, because this relationship is not working. You guys don't gel. You all don't mix. Because a lot of times, you'll be in a situation where you'll work with somebody who you just simply don't get along with, might not like, might not think alike. That happens all the time. But you need to make sure that the main priority is sticking to getting that work done, or getting that skill, or getting whatever it is that you need, and then using that to do something that is constructive. Now, I'm not telling you to put up with abuse. I'm not telling you to put up with some bullshit. I'm not telling you to just totally alter yourself and just be a fake person. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying, though, is to keep all of those things in mind while you're trying to get some type of resource from the inside. And I'm not talking about these little boule Negroes who really just want notoriety and want to be a success for themselves, but then say that they're working from the inside. I mean, literally work on the inside. I mean, literally kind of be cool, fill out the room, read the room, fill out that person who you're working with and all the people around them. Know what things that you want to talk about and that you don't, and make that be known what you are and are not going to talk about. Get what you need to get, and then get the hell up out of that place and stop dealing with that person, and then use that skill to actually do something constructive after all the struggling and the suffering that you did. And when a lot of y'all are in there and y'all are trying to learn new skills and stuff like that, don't be in there talking about, I'm just going to be me no matter where I go. Don't be doing all that. Just chill. Don't be trying to do too much. Like, you're literally in there to learn something, and that is pretty much it. Just like, be observant, be willing to, ask a bunch of questions. And what I mean by ask a bunch of questions, ask questions that are going to help you kind of figure out the things that you need to figure out and whatnot. So definitely be observant and try to get as much as you can and learn everything you can while you're in that space. All right, y'all, that's all I got for this topic. That's all I got to say. And I'm sure I'll have more to come later down the line. So make sure that you stay tuned. Other than that, I'll be talking to y'all later. Peace.